welcome to BBC Russia with me, Anastasia. Tonight we're looking at the assassination of Alexander II, the Tsar. We now have a live feed with a peasant who was an eyewitness of the assassination. So what's your name and who are you?
Hi, I'm Mike and I'm a peasant.
Where were you at the time of the assassination?
Well, I was just walking down the road in St. Petersburg and I was going to go and buy some bread. And then I heard this massive, terrific explosion behind me, and just out of the blue, this leg came flying in front of me. So I looked around and I saw two people dead and lots of blood everywhere, and it was the assassin and the Tsar. So I was very shocked. Any other questions?
What do you want to happen now?
Well, I hope that we get a new successor and he brings lots of better reforms. I'd like to own my own land and not have to pay the Tsar for it. And also I'd like to vote for who I want to be in the Zemstva. But most importantly, I'd like my family to be safe.
And did you manage to get your bread?
No, I'm just going to go and get it now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Joining me in the studio, I have Vladimir from the People's Will, and Dmitry, who's just Russian. Dmitry, the Russian Interior Minister. Okay, so...
Yeah.
Vladimir.
Hello.
Will you be celebrating tonight?
Oh yeah, I think yes, definitely. I mean, we've tried so hard to kill the guy, so I think definitely celebration in order.
What was your favourite attempt of assassinating Alex?
Well, I think definitely the carpenter. We spent a lot of work on that, and you know.
But it failed.
I know.
How do you feel about that?
He was nearly successful.
That must have been a really bad time for you.
It was, and he was so close as well, and he was just, you know, thwarted by a dinner really. So they were just late and didn't go to plan. But we did blow up the palace, and we were quite proud of that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good achievement, if I
think
do. So not being able to criticise the government must have been pretty tough.
Yeah.
How did you overcome this?
It was terrible. I mean, because we couldn't criticise the government, we couldn't, you know, have meetings in public, so we had to do it in secret, and in like this really horrible place, really. It's all dark and damp and no running water. It's just what we do, and it was depressing, really.
Okay.
One of the reasons we wanted to kill him.
Okay, thank you, Vladimir. We'll come back to you in a minute. Now on to Dmitry, Russian Interior Minister. So how do you feel about the assassination?
Well, I'm not really very happy, to be honest, because I thought what Alexander did was beneficial to the people of Russia. I didn't think he deserved to die.
Any examples that you can give of the good things he did?
Well, there were so many, but I think the Zemstva was the most significant, or one of the significant ones, because it was like the first form of government, and it allowed the general public and the serfs and people to kind of allow themselves to get more power. Like the local governments had more power, so they were able to improve the living conditions and things like building new roads and things like that.
Thank you, Dmitry. Now, neither of you have mentioned the emancipation. Anything to say about that?
Well, in the Emancipation Manifesto in 81, I think it was really important because it allowed it gave freedom to the serfs, and it allowed them to own their own land. They could buy their land off their previous landlords, or the people that they were owned by. So it gave them freedom.
Oh no, I definitely don't agree. I think if you look at what's actually happened, it's the fact that the peasants themselves had to buy land back from the government just doesn't make any sense. And now we have more debt than ever, and there's actually less land for the people to work on, so that means our agricultural industry is actually decreasing as opposed to anything else. So I think it was a terrible idea.
But I think you have to take into consideration the fact that in the past it's a massive improvement because Alex wanted to improve the life of the serfs, and I think it was an improvement. He wasn't just focusing on maintaining his autocratic role, he was trying to make improvements, and I think by doing that, surely that's improvement.
He was
himself.
definitely still maintaining his role because no Tsar is going to want to undermine his own authority. So there was no way he was doing it for the good of the people, as he claimed.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but he, by what he did was an improvement because he
In
wasn't
what
just
way?
because he didn't just look for power for the nobles like other people did. He was also thinking about the serfs, and
No,
he
he did,
wanted
he
them
definitely did.
because he realised that if he didn't change the conditions that the serfs were living in, a revolution could happen, and he didn't want that. So he thought it's better for changes to come from like the top than from the
But
bottom.
he actually made the situation worse, and the matter of the peasants are still owned by the landlords practically because they still have to pay back the fees. So, yeah.
Right, well thank you Dimitri and Vladimir for your comments. Do you have anything else to add?
Just that we're really glad we killed him.
It's a terrible shame.
And there you have it.